Hey everyone, it's Dora from flippinghousesanpancakes.com, and it's time for another episode of Let's Cook for Shabbos. As usual, I have a very limited amount of time to get my food ready for Shabbos this week, and it was a very chaotic week. I have no idea. Anyway, so I'm going to be making a few quick dishes, and let's start with the first one. I'm going to make a creamy pesto dip. I have some fresh checked basil. It is beautiful. Oh, it smells so good. I've got about 4 cups of this basil. I'm going to throw it right in here into my food processor. And I have a pesto recipe that is not a creamy one that is in my cookbook. I use it. It's in my salmon recipe if you want to look for that. My pesto salmon. And I use that recipe on all kinds of things, on roasted French fries. Like I'll make pesto fries with it. I use it as a pasta sauce sometimes. But as a dip to like schmear on challah on Shabbos, I like the creamier version better. So the main difference is going to be the mayo that we add, but there are a few other differences. So we have the fresh basil. I'm going to add 2 cloves of garlic, so it's nice and garlicky. There's no pine nuts in this basil, in this pesto recipe. No pine nuts at all. I forgot my salt. It's right here. Okay, no pine nuts at all. I'm going to put a teaspoon of salt in. You want to have a nice bright flavor. And we're going to put a tablespoon of white vinegar. I don't put pine nuts in. I'm not a huge fan of pine nuts. I do have friends who put like walnuts in place of pine nuts, but I don't mind this pesto being just straight up basil and garlic and salt and other flavors. So I had the white vinegar. I'm going to add about a cup of mayo. I do want this to be nice and creamy. In my other pesto recipe, there's no mayo, there's oil. But in this one, we're going to use mayonnaise. And I'm using light mayo, so it's not super heavy. And I'm going to add a half a cup of water. Okay, I'm going to throw all of this into my food processor. You've noticed how long this has taken me, like 30 seconds, a minute. I don't even know. I didn't count. But we're going to just process it. We'll give it a minute. We love this food processor. This is so much fun, and it's not crazy noisy. I think you can still hear me. That's it. This is my pesto dip. So it is going to have a slightly different texture. It's a little thinner. If you want it a little thicker, let me bring it closer to you. If you want it a little thicker, add more basil or use less water. Look at that. And it's really good. All right, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna put this in a container and we'll move on to our second dish. All right, I'm back. What you didn't see was at first I discovered I wasn't wearing an apron when I splattered some of my pesto sauce on my shirt. So I now have my apron on. And the second thing is we have a dog, and he decided to come and join me in the kitchen, and I had to shoo him away. Like, go away, out of the kitchen, in the middle of a video. Anyhow, that's what happens when you film in your own house. Okay, so let's move on. I have the oven turned on to 400 degrees. My pesto dip is put away, and I have a pot of egg noodles, like the little egg noodles. I have yolk-free ones, cooking on the stove for my next dish, for my third dish. But right now, we will make what I like to refer to as my Persian-style Shabbos Chicken. I call it that because it is very much based on a chicken dish that my sister-in-law Orly Shifta makes on a regular basis for Shabbos. It's really easy and really flavorful, and I don't have to do too much, which is perfect for today. And yes, that was one of my kids who clearly forgot that I was filming right now. Shh. Okay, anyhow. All right, let's do it. So I have 2 onions. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to quarter them and then slice them. If you want, you could dice them, but I'd like to have slightly bigger pieces on my in my dish. So I'm going to slice these onions up, and we'll put them in my dish. I'm using a Pyrex dish today. You could use an aluminum pan. You could use any kind of baking dish you have. It doesn't matter. It's just the one that I have that fits my chicken. All right. So we have sliced onions. I'm going to go ahead and put these on the bottom of this pan. Okay, and spread them out. Now I'm going to chop my garlic first, but I'm not going to actually put it on yet. I'm going to chop 6 cloves of garlic right here. And the reason I'm going to chop it first is because I'm going to touch the chicken next with these gloves, and I really don't want to, I don't want to make the knife dirty from the chicken. So, and I also don't want to have my fingers smelling like garlic all day. So, this way I get to use the gloves for both things without making anything extra dirty. So we'll just get this all minced up. Doesn't have to be minced, just cut up, chopped up a bit into smaller pieces. Okay, and that's going to go on the chicken after we put the chicken in the pan. So let's go ahead and put the chicken in the pan. All right, I'm just going to lay them out on top of the onions. I did remove the skin from this chicken. My kids are not big chicken skin fans, so I did actually take the skin off. Will this fit? I don't know. Make it fit, right? We can make this chicken fit. Okay, my kids are not huge fans of having chicken with the skin on. That looks a little tight. I must have more chicken than usual here. All right. Hopefully it won't overflow in the oven. Have you ever had that happen? I've had it happen. Where suddenly there's just like chicken juice everywhere. I think we'll be okay because I'm not actually adding any liquid to the dish. All right, so I'm gonna take my dirty chickeny gloves off now and we can finish up. Okay, I'm gonna take that garlic that I minced and I'm gonna sprinkle it over the top. Sprinkle it over the top of the chicken. Okay, and that was 6 cloves of garlic. 6 cloves of garlic. You know, I just realized I didn't take out one of my ingredients. I'm gonna grab it in a minute. I've got my paprika here. I'm gonna do about a teaspoon of paprika again over the top. A little bit of flavor, but it also adds a beautiful color to this chicken. And like I said, super simple. Who has time for anything fancy or complicated? It looks delicious when it comes out, and it tastes delicious when it comes out. I think that's really all we need, right? We don't need it to be fancy as long as it's good. So I'm gonna sprinkle the tops with some turmeric. I need to get my parsley. Hold on a minute. Underneath here, and I forgot to take it out. There we go. I'm just gonna grab I'm gonna add a tablespoon of parsley. I have this huge container, so I'm gonna sprinkle it over the top of the chicken. Okay. This is gonna get sprayed and put in the oven, and we're gonna bake it until it's done. And that's all I had to do to prepare this Shabbos chicken. Now, we have one more dish to make. Okay, my chicken's in the oven, and I'm getting ready to make the Almond Noodle Kugel recipe that is in my cookbook. It's actually my father's recipe, but he never measured any ingredients, and it took me a while to get it exactly right. But making this Almond Noodle Kugel, one of the things you didn't see is when I was getting everything arranged and I picked up my bowl of eggs that I was getting ready to beat and managed to like splosh like 3 eggs all over the counter and get it all cleaned up. It's good. It's kind of a shame that I didn't catch it on film because it would have been pretty entertaining. But I didn't catch it on film, so sorry you missed it. All right. I cooked 2 bags, so 2 12-ounce bags of egg noodles. They're sitting here in this pot, and I don't feel like using an extra dish and getting an extra dish dirty because, of course, I don't have much time to clean everything. So we're just going to put everything straight into this pot, mix it up, and then pour it into our baking dishes. Today I have a nice fancy baking dish. I'm also giving away a pan of this, so I have an aluminum pan to put in my kugel also. If you have a baking dish like this, you don't have to spray it or anything like that because the spray will it eventually makes your pan kind of icky. It gets like a coating on it. But if you're using an aluminum pan, definitely spray it before you pour your kugel in. Okay. So I am going to pour in my 6 beaten eggs. Now that I got that kind of fixed up, and I have 6 eggs in here again. Okay, I'm going to put in 6 beaten eggs. It's going to sound strange, okay? I'm going to put about a half a cup of sliced almonds. I'm going to save a little bit of sliced almond for the topping as well. Okay, so we have the sliced almonds. I'm going to put a 1/4 cup of flour. It just kind of helps it all stay together better. I'm going to do half a cup of oil. I'm going to do the oil first, and I'll show you why. I'll do the half a cup of oil, and then I'm going to do a half a cup of honey. Always do the oil before the honey, because if you use the same measuring cup, the oil that's already kind of coating your measuring cup will help your honey fall right out of the measuring cup. And I'm hoping I have a whole half cup of honey in this jar. I didn't think about it earlier. I guess I should have. So we might be a little light on the honey today, but you're supposed to use a half a cup. All right, so assume that was a half a cup. It was maybe a little closer to a third today. We'll pour half a cup in, and if you were to look at this, you saw how nicely the honey poured right out. There's almost no honey left in this cup. There's like a teeny tiny drop right in the corner because the oil had coated it, and so it just fell right out into my pot. I'm going to just stir this whole thing up gently because it is very full. We already had one big spill today. I had a splatter, I had a spill, the dog came in. This is what happens when I'm cooking in my kitchen. Oh, it smells really good. You can kind of smell that honey because it's heating up with the noodles. And it's just going to give it a touch of sweetness. It's not a salt and pepper kugel, but it's not an overly sweet kugel. It's just right. And I have a kid who loves this, and every time we go to my parents' house, when my dad would make it, he makes it specifically because we're coming, and my child eats like half of the kugel. So, gotta sometimes make it at home just so that we get to have that flavor. All right, I'm gonna pour these into the baking pans, and then I'm gonna top them with a little bit more of the almond. Let's see, and I'm using sliced almonds. I'm not using slivered almonds. I think the sliced almond goes really well in this kugel. So let's pour these out. Whew. Makes a lot of kugel here. Gotta kind of compact it a little bit. Okay. And smooth it down. This is gonna be delicious. This will look so pretty too. I'm just gonna smooth it out in my pan. Smooth that one. Okay, and then we'll add just a little bit more of these sliced almonds on top, just for decoration. And it also reminds you which kind of kugel it is, right? A little bit here and a little on the one I'm giving away. And that's it. I'm going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees until it's all nice and set. There's nothing gooey or squishy. And then we'll take a look at them. All right, they're out of the oven. Take a look at this Persian-style Shabbos Chicken. Oh my goodness, it smells so good and it's so easy to make. The Almond Noodle Kugel. Check that out. A little sweet, a little savory, just perfect. And of course the creamy pesto dip that we made. Wow, this will be a tasty Shabbos. All right, and here we have the creamy pesto dip, my almond noodle kugel, and of course my Persian-style Shabbos chicken. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you cooked along with me. If you enjoyed it, please hit like, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell for notifications so you find out every time I upload a new video, and of course, check out my website, flippinghousesandpancakes.com, where you can find more recipes, more fun things, and of course you can also find my cookbook on there so you can get this nice almond kugel recipe. flippinghousesandpancakes.com. Okay, put my pesto dip away, and I actually have started a pot of egg noodles. I'm going to start this again. All right, Maddie, out of my kitchen. Out of my kitchen.